it was some black people that was helping them, just like they friended the what's that called, the Indians,
Who?
the white people. They did the same thing to the Africans. Learned their language, traded with them, and all that stuff. I don't know if they gave the black people smallpox, but they.
Right, but the only thing we know about slavery is what we've been taught, and we ain't even been taught a lot of that.
Yeah,
and,
but a lot of that. I mean, a lot of that stuff ain't. And of course, white people gonna lie to say, some of the stuff in there, they put in there, whatever stuff like that. But slavery, the stories from slavery wasn't passed down from no white man completely. That's from generations of slaves passing stuff down to their children.
You talking about like Roots, the movie's Roots?
Not Roots. Not that. I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about from the slaves back then that had kids and told the story. And then
that's what I'm saying. What source are you talking about? What source of education do you have that was based off of slave passing on to slave? Only information I got about slavery is the Jews from the media making the movies, and the white history, the American history, what little they want to tell us. What authentic stories you got from our great grandparents about slavery?
Me? Or you talking about anybody?
Anybody. I mean, what do you know about slavery that was coming through some authentic trace other than a Jew from the Hollywood and the white Caucasian?
Because the stories that they got from the black people, whatever stories they told them, they twisted into whatever movie or book they put it in. Of course they ain't gonna tell the whole story from no black person. They gonna put what they want in there. So
exactly. So therefore, we only can over-exaggerate. We can say, "Oh, well, it was horrible," and it was more than what it was. It was a horrible thing because obviously we still in this situation. But what if we deserve to be the situation we're in? Because, and I say we, I don't mean to say we, because it's some knuckleheads that's black and there's some knuckleheads that's white that's still in the same messed up, brainwashed mind frame as during slavery or whatever. Africa.
But we don't even know what those people deserve. I mean, why that happened, because everything happened with permission of Allah. We don't know what the heck they was doing in Africa. They was probably against Islam altogether and stuff like that. We don't know. I mean, not all of them, but they did something to where they had to be punished. And when they came to America, they probably lost their Islam. And the ones that was practicing, they taught them about
now that's the only people, the only Africans who gonna come to some kind of end with this slavery situation, some kind of understanding or justification, is the Muslims, because that religion plays so closely to the slaves. And now the African Americans, so-called African Americans, are being brainwashed again by white people and by Jews and by everybody who's making money from the African American struggle, because it ain't African Americans. Jesse Jackson, all them, they turning their money over to somebody else. It ain't coming to our communities. All that money that's being made, it ain't coming in our communities. All the black movements you could think of, where is that money going? Second of all, those people benefit more than the so-called African Americans. And Islam is the only outside source for the African Americans to learn about their history. Islam was there in the beginning. They took the Africans away from Islam, and it's still Africans over there now to this day in those Muslim countries. And they're not affected the way we are in America. We on a whole nother thing. We trying to get back to Africa. We trying to get back to our history. They know the history and they still who they always was. We rejecting them because we're still being brainwashed that Muslims are slave owners and they was worse than the white man and this and that. And we know slavery in Islam is nothing compared to the slavery that these Caucasians started. But you know, my whole thing is slavery has been lied about so much. There's no sources except Islam that will bring the truth out. And you know, unfortunately, Islam hasn't talked about slavery directly. You know, it's a lot older than slavery. 1,500 years, the Quran, versus 400, 300 years, the African slavery.
It does talk about slavery,
but not slavery.
Yeah, because that was way. Slavery came way after Islam was brought.
Hey, that was like 300 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Islam came 1,500 years ago. But the Muslims were of all races, all colors. And now they're making it seem like black people got this superficial struggle. We are the African Americans are the original people, and Africa is the original home, when Africa isn't even the oldest country.
But it
from what I understand, Africa, I think India was around before Africa. They so on this black stuff that Africa is the original place, and everybody started out black. So you telling me Allah created all these beautiful colors? He created us to be all these beautiful colors. That's like saying all the animals in the world started out black. So all them birds with all those beautiful colors, they all original black. So everything is about, that's all was pumped in our head. This is all artificial, man. We all walking around talking about we Afrocentric, and we came from Africa and this and that. The Africans don't even recognize to that. They don't even relate to that. We be around Africans every day. I work with Africans. I live around Africans, and they don't relate to that.
They don't look at us like we one of them.
No, because we're not.
Yeah.
We Americans. Only reason we relate to some of them is because we're Muslim. If we weren't Muslim, we wouldn't even know most of them people. Wouldn't even talk to them.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to let my voice be known as one person if I have to. But you know, it just takes a little honesty, and you can figure out anything in life, man. Allah makes it where anybody can learn anything they want to know.
Both hands, Idris.
And we can all survive, but we gotta tell the truth.